My name is Daniel Thompson, and I grew up in Houston, Texas, in a neighborhood where masculinity was measured by how tough you looked, how loud you spoke, and how many people you could intimidate. But the kind of masculinity I would later learn, the real kind, wasn't about intimidation, fists, or ego. It was about responsibility, sacrifice, and standing tall even when life tried to break you. When I was a boy, my father was my first example of what it meant to be a man. He worked long hours at a steel plant, coming home with his hands covered in grease, his shirt drenched in sweat, and his back stiff from labor. He didn't complain. He didn't boast. He just did what needed to be done to keep food on the table for us. My mother stayed home to raise me and my two sisters, and though she never said it out loud, I could see in her eyes that she leaned on my father's strength every single day. But when I became a teenager, the world outside my home painted a very different picture. My classmates told me that masculinity was about winning fights, dating the most popular girl, and making everyone respect you through fear. I got caught between these two worlds, the quiet, steady masculinity of my father and the loud, aggressive version glorified by my peers. By the time I turned 20, I thought I had it all figured out. I joined a group of friends who believed that being a man meant never showing weakness, never asking for help, and always proving yourself through dominance. At first, it felt empowering. I walked with a swagger, raised my voice in arguments, and picked fights I didn't need to pick. I thought I was tough. I thought I was a man. But then life handed me a reality check. My father fell ill when I was 21. He developed a heart condition that forced him to retire early. Suddenly, the man who had always carried the weight of our family could no longer do it. Someone else had to step up. That someone was me. I dropped out of college and took a construction job to help cover the bills. At first, I hated it. Waking up before sunrise, sweating under the Texas sun, and dragging my tired body home every night was nothing like the masculinity I thought I wanted. There was no applause, no respect, no one cheering me on. Just long hours, sore muscles, and a paycheck that barely stretched to cover groceries. But slowly, something inside me changed. I started to understand what my father had been showing me all along. True masculinity isn't about showing off, it's about showing up. It's about carrying responsibilities even when they're heavy. It's about being a pillar when others lean on you, even when you feel like collapsing yourself. One evening, after a long shift, I came home and found my little sister, Emily, crying over her schoolwork. She had a math assignment she couldn't understand, and Mom was too tired to help. I sat down beside her, explained each problem patiently, and watched her face light up when she finally got it. That moment hit me harder than any punch I'd ever thrown in a fight. I realized that being a man wasn't about fear, it was about love, guidance, and service. But make no mistake, masculinity comes with a heavy price. I lost friends who didn't understand why I stopped hanging out late at night. I lost the admiration of people who only respected bravado. I lost the illusion of an easy life. Instead, I gained responsibility, sacrifice, and long nights lying awake wondering if I was doing enough. When I turned 25, my father passed away. It was one of the hardest days of my life. At his funeral, people spoke about his strength, his dedication, and his unwavering sense of duty. But what struck me most was when my mother whispered to me, "Your father would be proud of you. You've become the man he always hoped you'd be." That sentence carried more weight than any compliment I'd ever received. Life didn't get easier after that. In fact, it got harder. I had to become the emotional anchor for my family, the financial provider, and the decision-maker. I didn't always feel ready. I didn't always feel strong. But masculinity isn't about feeling ready, it's about stepping forward even when you're afraid. I remember one particular winter when work slowed down and money was tight. There were nights when I skipped dinner so my mother and sisters could eat. I never told them, but I could see the suspicion in my mother's eyes when she noticed my untouched plate. That's the price of masculinity: sacrifice that no one applauds, struggles no one sees, and battles you fight quietly so others can live peacefully. Eventually, I worked my way up in construction, became a site manager, and finally started to breathe a little easier. But by then, I no longer cared about applause or validation. My measure of success was simple. Was my family safe? Were their needs met? Did they sleep peacefully at night because I carried the weight during the day? Now that I'm in my 30s, I see the younger men around me chasing the same illusions I once did: status, dominance, and recognition. And I want to tell them, true masculinity will cost you more than you ever imagined. It will take your comfort, your pride, your energy, and your illusions of an easy life. But in return, it will give you something priceless: honor, legacy, and the quiet strength to know that you stood tall when it mattered most. Being a man isn't easy. It's not glamorous. It won't always make you popular. But if you embrace the real weight of masculinity, the sacrifice, the responsibility, the service, you'll find that the heavy price is worth paying. Because in the end, masculinity isn't about how the world sees you. It's about how your family, your loved ones, and your conscience remember you. And that's a legacy no one can take away.